So today we will start straight with some international happenings to give you some perspective. In America, gun violence. You know, America is home for millions of black people and millions of Africa, and we have a lot of Ambazonian Americans who we are very interested in their well-being, and so American politics become an African politics to many extent. So, ladies and gentlemen, in America, there have been gun violence again, a shooting where a teenager walked into a school and opened fire and killed a lot of people. And there is a lot of debate in America of what to do. We have seen the Democratic Party, which is a ruling party in the United States of America. They are pushing the issue of gun laws, and they are focused so much, fixated so much on the issue of gun. And that for us Africans, especially from my point of view, we look at it as a little bit a lost debate. Guns do not kill people; people kill people. And America, they have to really rethink, and we are advising our Ambazonian Americans to try to highlight to the American people, because what happens in America give a precedent for the entire world, and especially to us Africans. It's very important that Americans should know the problems they face. There is violence across the globe. There are problems of mental problems across the globe where people wake up and do stupid things. For Americans to think that this is a gun problem, they are making a big mistake. In Africa, we have the rights to bear guns. We have the rights to carry spear, bow and arrows, and weapons for war. That is how we initiate our youth into adulthood. So gun is never the problem. We own gun. I had a gun when I was, I think, 9 years old. My parent gave me a gun back in Africa. And we know that guns are used for hunting. These are locally made guns. They are used for hunting. They are not meant to kill people. You also have knives in kitchen. You can use a knife to kill somebody. You will expect that if somebody kills people with knife, people will not think that the problem is a knife. So if people kill people with gun, people should not definitely think that the problem is gone. And we want to speak to this to our Americans, Africans, and our Ambazonian Americans to know that the problem in America today is not the problem of gun. In a country where the secular media is waging a war against Christianity, against Islam, against religion as a whole, to push an agenda of atheism, is the problem in America. America today, religion have been removed from their legal system. They have removed from the wall of their courts the 10 Commandments. They are pushing for an agenda of a world without God. And today they are asking themselves, why do crazy people in America do stupid things? It's because there is no restraint. Religion is very important. I don't care whether you believe in God or not. But in the psychology of people, religion is a very important tool for human restraint. It is the biggest tool. It can be used for evil, but definitely for the most part, religion, as you raise your kids up, religion is the most biggest tool they have to equip themselves to be able to be disciplined, to be self-regulatory. And we think that the problem Americans are facing is that they have become an atheist country, a country that have lost its culture. Even without religion, the culture of a people is very important, very essential. If your culture have become a form of capitalism that just engage and indulge in selfishness, greed, materialism, then the result is that you find young men who are lost mentally go out there and kill people en masse. So the real debate in America should be the conscience of America. Why do Americans do not fear, they don't respect their elders, they don't have any culture? It's because they lack that religion. They are fighting a war against religion. And the Democratic Party, for the most part, is the biggest force against religion. I don't care whether you are Muslim, you are Hindu, you are Buddhist, you believe in African tradition, whatever belief system you have is very important. All animals don't have a form of belief. The difference between human beings and animal is that human beings are capable of worshiping. I don't care what God you worship, but religion is very important in human civilization. A form of belief system is very important. And the more America push the agenda against beliefs, do propaganda against Christianity, against Islam, against Hindu, to promote atheism, then they will find themselves lost in debating about the causes of gun violence. So, ladies and gentlemen, from America, we want to go to the United Kingdom, where the Prime Minister of England, Boris Johnson, have survived a no-confidence vote in the British Parliament. We applaud Boris Johnson. He is a gentleman who have made mistakes, and the vote itself speaks volumes to the democracy that the British people enjoy. It is admirable, and we Africans, we want to learn from the best. And we think that this type of democracy, where leaders are held accountable for attending parties, is very important. Imagine an African president and the parliament having that power to be able to hold the conduct of a president. That would be what we want. We have seen that, on the contrary, in Africa, the French government have been pushing the whole idea of stability over real democracy. They have constitutional coup d'etat in Chad that is being supported by the French. We have fake elections that have puppets of the West being put in power in many African states, and many people in Africa, because of this bad politics, have a bad taste for democracy. Most Africans associate democracy and elections to dictatorship, because election in itself have been used by the French government in particular across Africa as a tool to install dictators, to justify it that they need stability in Africa rather than human rights. So as much as we Africans, we have now have a bad taste for democracy because of France and the use of elections by the West in Africa to justify the impositions of tyrants over us, we want to appreciate the British people for their democracy, and we pray that Africans should rise up to this stage where we can hold our leaders for things like this. And also in the war in Ukraine and Russia have led to huge shortages of maize, huge shortages of wheat and fertilizer across the African continent. We are now facing a crisis in Africa, and most of our African leaders, they care less because they are comfortable. They have stocked for them enough wealth in Western capitals. Capital flight have become a big issue in Africa, across the continent, where politicians, they embezzle money and they keep them in safe accounts in Dubai, in China, in Europe, in America, and they live in comfort there. So while Africa face a looming future as a result of the war in Russia and Ukraine, the African Union have failed to be able to send a diplomatic mission to Russia and Ukraine that can represent the African Union and represent collectively the black people and Africans, to go and negotiate the transfer and the continued flow of wheat and fertilizer from Ukraine as well as Russia, as Africa relies in Ukraine and Russia for more than 60% of their wheat and fertilizer. So African Union have become incompetent. They have failed in their ability to have diplomatic representatives that represent the interests of the African people. They have become obsolete. They have become a tool where dictators goes there to eat their money and celebrate good life and to seek for legitimacy for their regimes. It has lost touch with the Pan-African spirit, where Africans used to gather after being summoned by Kwame Nkrumah to sit down and decide on how Africans can become one, how Africans can safeguard their small, minute economy in terms of building a joint platform, an African Union where the Africans are really united. Today, Africans don't even celebrate Africa Day. So we want to call on Africans to realize that the countries that represent us, the African Union that is supposed to speak for us, have failed. They don't have the capacity to negotiate on behalf of Africa. In the United States, the South African government have failed in their leadership. The Kenyan government and all the democracies we have in Africa, they care less about we, the African people. So we have to continue to push the agenda of Pan-Africanism. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to take you again, before we conclude this international segment, in Nigeria, where in the southwest of Nigeria, This southwest of Nigeria used to constitute the Lagos Protectorate under the British government. Nigeria, as we see today, is made up of 3 separate states. You have the Lagos Protectorate, you have the Biafra, which used to be the eastern Nigeria, and then you have the northern Nigeria, which was the Islamic state, or the northern state of Nigeria. The British government came in with the amalgamation policy and they mixed up the people to divide and rule them. And today we have seen that they are empowering the Northeast, that are mainly made of Fulani people, to rule over Nigeria, to carry out killings with impunity, to carry out corruption and exploitation of both the former Lagos Protectorate and the eastern Nigeria of Biafra. Like we saw in the case of the Rwandan genocide, where the Hutu, were being empowered by the French and the Belgian government as a means to colonize and exploit that country. They gave them power, and they thought that they have become gods. They could go into Tutsi's land and the Twa people's land in Rwanda and do whatever they want. There will be no justice for those victims. It picked itself when the Hutu people think that they could carry genocide against their own Tutsis. Today we are seeing the same thing in Nigeria, where the Fulani people have impunity. They can steal money, they can do whatever they want. And now we have not seen the killing only in the Biafra region, but we are now seeing killing in the former Lagos Protectorate, or the Southwest, whatever they call it in UNU, as we have seen Fulani men walk into a church and kill hundreds of people. This needs to stop. Africans need to know the root causes of this problem. We also see the same thing, we face the same thing in Cameroon, where the French government and their troops and their government officials, they have had impunity over that land. They do whatever they want with the people from the Ambazonia region, and nothing will happen to them. It has given them impunity. They are now going for land grab. In the southwest part, or the Atlantic state of Ambazonia, we have seen huge chunk of land being seized from the local indigenous people by French Cameroon citizens. They want to occupy our land by force. They are killing our people on a day-to-day basis. We see the same thing across African continent, whether the problem of Ethiopia, the problem in Morocco, in Sahel, Somaliland, across the continent of Africa, even in the Congo, where Western civilization and Western power will choose to divide and rule African states, empowering one tribe over the other as a means to subjugate their people and exploit them. In Chad, we have seen the same. In Mali, we have seen the same. It's always the same story. One tribe empowered to rule and dominate. And in exchange, they guarantee exploitation from white countries that gives them weapons and give them political cover in the international corner and the corridors of diplomacy. So that is what is going on across the world and across African continent.